David Tepper. I got some problems with you people, says the late, great Jerry Stiller. David Tepper is in his 6th year as an NFL owner, 6 straight losing seasons. But here's the crazy part. Here's the part that I don't know if David Tepper took into account. Because he's had such a quick axe on so many different positions within his program, he's made himself the only common denominator. Right? We've seen a Tepper Panthers team led by Ron Rivera, led by Matt Rule, led by Frank Reich. He's had Cam Newton at quarterback, Kyle Allen at quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. These are guys that led the team in passing for a season, okay? Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and now Bryce Young. Guys that have led the running game. It's been Christian McCaffrey, a superstar, Mike Davis, a journeyman, Chuba Hubbard, an underrated guy, Deontay Foreman, a guy you let walk. Every different iteration of person in so many important positions. You've had a guy that coached in the Super Bowl with an MVP. You've had the hotshot offensive mind from college. You've had the retread from another NFL team that's been around the league forever. You've had the MVP quarterback. You've had the young guy out of nowhere. You've had the journeyman Teddy Bridgewater. You've had reclamation projects in both Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. You've had the number 1 overall pick. Yet every year that David Tepper has been the owner, they've lost more games than they've won. Mathematically guaranteed by their loss against Dallas, they will lose more games this year than they will win, even if they run the table from here on out. And let's be real, even that ain't a possibility. The year before David Tepper bought the Panthers, they went 11-5 and made the playoffs. He bought the Panthers, and 6 straight years, 6 straight losing seasons. The common denominator is David Tepper. That's a tough bit of staring in the mirror. That's a tough bit of figuring it out. And do you know what's the most frustrating part? The losing. You know what the second most frustrating part is? When another team takes over your stadium and makes it so your team has to practice a silent count for a home game. You know what the third most frustrating part is? It doesn't feel like he's learned or changed a thing. Right? If you buy an NFL franchise and you come in gung-ho and you want to change this, you want to change that, you want to be involved in this meeting, you want to be involved in that meeting, you want to go out and watch practice, you want to tell the coaches what to do, I get it. It's probably really tempting. You just bought an NFL franchise. Right? It's like buying a Lamborghini. You want to go take it for a spin, right? You want to go, hear the thing roar on the highway a few times. I get it. But when you're 4 or 5 years in and you're going, you know what? I still want to keep doing it. It's like, wait, it's not working, right? If you took the Lamborghini out and you crashed it, and then you took the Lamborghini out and you crashed it, then you took the Lamborghini out and you got a massive speeding ticket. Then you took the Lamborghini out and you crashed it. At a certain point, I'm going to go, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't drive it like that. And you should change the way you're doing it. 6 straight years, 6 straight crashed seasons by David Tepper, and it doesn't feel like anything's changed. That's the frustrating part, right? The frustrating part, the third most frustrating part. The third most frustrating part is that you don't seem to be learning from your mistakes. There's a fine line between stubborn and crazy, right? I'll put it this way. There's a fine line between being convicted in your ideas and being convicted and supporting your decisions and being confident you're right and being stubborn and being wrong and refusing to adjust. And it happens all over in sports. Right? I see it. Who was it? There's a former Bear, meaning Chicago Bear, not somebody that used to be an animal. A former Chicago Bear, and I'm blanking on it, wrote it was Martellus Bennett. There it is. Martellus Bennett, who played for the Bears, wrote a long Twitter thread about the Bears basically being stuck in their past and saying nostalgia is good business. And if you're always selling your fans on we're trying to rebuild 1985, you'll always be profitable. There'll always be fans. But you need to adapt and you need to be different and you need to get into the modern world of football. That's kind of what I'm saying here, right? If at first your plan was we're gonna build like we did in 1985, and then it didn't work, and you're like, all right, I still think it can work. Let's build with linebackers. Let's build with running game. Let's get our Mike Singletary and our Walter Payton for the new age. Well, eventually, if it keeps not working, you got to adapt and advance. David Tepper, if your first year was I'm a genius, I'm a billionaire, I'm gonna tell everybody what to do, and it didn't work. You're like, all right, second year, I'm a genius. I'm a billionaire. I'm going to tell everyone what to do. Didn't work. All right, I'm going to get a new coach. I'm a genius. I'm a billionaire. I'm going to tell everyone what I can do. A couple years later, let's get another new coach. I'm a genius. Maybe that's the thing that needs to change. Maybe you need to empower someone else to make decisions. Maybe. Possibly. Because it's a fact. There have been misjudgments up and down this franchise. It's a fact that there have been a lot of mistakes that have gotten here. Not one, a bunch of them. Frank Reich, the head coach, on Sunday talked about the organization possibly misjudging their offensive line.
I think that from a pass protection standpoint, we just have to keep working. This particular defense is as good of a pass rush team as there is in the NFL. I mean, that's just what they are. So I give them credit. I thought we would protect better. I thought we had a good protection plan, to try to double Parsons when we could. There's going to be some 5-man protection stuff that gets, where the throw gets out quick. So we had a variety of things in the protection scheme up, but we just weren't able to execute.
In short, yes, you misjudged the offensive line. You went into an NFL season with that as your offensive line, and they're giving up an unprecedented amount of pressures, and they're not opening up a ton of holes in the run game. You misjudged the offensive line. What you have to do now is go back and look at the process that led you to pick that offensive line and find where the fault was. Same is true for Tepper. You've now picked, if you believe Frank Reich wasn't the right coach, you've now picked the wrong coach twice. If you believe Bryce Young is the wrong quarterback, you've picked the wrong quarterback a bunch of times. Or if you believe you've put Bryce Young in the wrong situation, you've put the quarterbacks in the wrong situation a bunch of times. Go back and look at the process and figure out what you're doing wrong.